What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. It is time now for our weekly look at COVID in wastewater for Sunday, August 6th, 2023. Starting off with BioBot Analytics, we can see here that in the majority of the U.S., COVID in wastewater continues to rise. You see there's this little bit of a leveling off in the south. We're not really buying much into that. There's enough data that says that's probably just noise or bogus, because we know for a fact Florida is rapidly rising with cases. Texas cases, they've kind of leveled off a little bit, but there's enough other states that are still seeing rises with COVID at this time. And taking a look now at the latest variants, you can see here EG.5 is now 6.1% detected in wastewater. Okay, we're going to be using two wastewater sites today. Usually we just use the CDC site. I'm going to move myself to the left. But we're also going to use Scan as well, because there's a few sites on Wastewater Scan that update more frequently, and we want to take a look at them. And these are some of the bigger sites. Like, for example, one we will definitely be looking at there is Boston. So we're going to start off in the Northeast, work our way south and westward. But we're also first going to go over these levels here, because maybe you're new to my channel. Maybe this is the first time you've seen the wastewater update. New sites, they're the ones in white. There's 106 of them. 0 to 19%, they're the ones in dark blue, 378. And that number is actually dropping. That's not a number we want to see drop. That's because the higher colors are rising. 20 to 39%, there's 482 of them. That's actually down by 1% as well. 40 to 59%, that's this real light blue color. That's moderate levels of COVID. There's 290 of them. Orange, this is moderate to high. 60 to 79%. There's 97 of them now. Red, 80 to 100%. There's 11 of them now. And that's the highest level of COVID. And unfortunately, yes, things are not going too well at this time. And in the Mid-Atlantic region, take a look at this. There are quite a few orange sites popping up now. I had tweeted last night that in the north, the fall is when things will really get going. But in the southern half of the Mid-Atlantic, I think it's already starting, just looking at this wastewater chart. But trust me, it's going to get a lot worse, because the students are going back to school pretty soon. Taking a look, we'll start off with Maine. Let's go down to around Cumberland County. Here's one site that's at 65,000 population, and you can see it hasn't updated all that frequently. So we're actually already going to come over here to this wastewater scan, and you can see here for COVID, here it updates more frequently, updated on August 2nd. You can see the overall trend has been rising. Most recent update dropped a little bit for COVID, but it's rising. And we'll take a look at the other stuff. Influenza, RSV, HMPV, not an issue. Mpox, not an issue. And Norovirus is dropping at this time. Alright, let's go back to the CDC page now. You can see we can also check this orange site down here in southern Maine. And you will see in York County, Maine, this is not good. 15,000 population at this watershed. And it is rapidly rising. It is going straight up. Something we don't like to see. New Hampshire. Here's Hillsborough. 172,000. This is a big wastewater site. And it is dropping at this time. Now we come over here to Boston. And again, we have to go back to Wastewater Scan, because it updates more frequently here. And let's see. Boston. Here we go. This is a big site. This is 2.4 million people. And you can see here, it's the same wastewater site as the CDC map. It just updates more frequently here. And you can see it's been bouncing around, but the overall trajectory, if I was to draw a line, is slightly upward for COVID. Influenza is not an issue. RSV is not an issue. HMPV, not an issue. Mpox, not an issue. Norovirus, it is starting to rise on the latest update. The overall trajectory was down, but now it has taken a little bit of a rise, and that's as of July 31st, and COVID is also as of July 31st. Coming back here to the CDC page, and there's several more sites we want to look at in New England. First off, Chitterton, Vermont. It is now at 30,000 population, and it is dropping at this time. It's moderate, but it is dropping. Down in southern Vermont, Bennington. Bennington's starting to rise again. Then we go back to Massachusetts. Go to Westford, Massachusetts. 55,000 population at this watershed, and it is rising. Now we come over to New York State. There's a few bad color ones that we want to look at, orange and red sites. And 4,918 in Franklin County is the population. And look at this, it's moderate and rapidly rising. That's not good to see. Now we come down near Albany. We have a red site, and ooh, this one is not good. But unfortunately, I can't show you a more recent update on the other site. They don't have that site there. But here's Albany itself, moderate and rapidly rising. How about Saratoga? 152,000 population. And it is rising. It's low to moderate now, but it is rising. I think that could potentially go moderate soon. And let's just keep moseying along here in New York State. Ontario County, moderate and rising. Livingston, moderate and rising. Let's see here. Keep looking around. Broome, or should I say Brome County, 24,672 population. And this one is rising at this time, so that's not good to see. Now let's take a look at Long Island. Here's Nassau County. That one's slightly dropping, 611,000 population. Here's another Nassau County with 524,000. That one's continuing to rise. Here's Suffolk. This one's dropping ever so slightly. Maybe it's just me, but it looks to me as if there's more Long Island sites today. That's good to see. Here's another Suffolk. This one's dropping ever so slightly. Now let's do the big New York City. What's going on there? Last week we saw a number of sites in New York City were just rapidly rising. And look at this. New York, 588,000, rapidly rising. That's closer to Manhattan. Here's another one, 588,000, rising yet again. That did level off. Now it's back to rising. Queens, rising. Kings, 1 million population here, leveled off a little bit. Here's Bronx, that's rapidly rising. Here's another Queens that leveled off a little bit. We come down here to Kings, rapidly rising. How about this one? Rapidly rising, rapidly rising, rapidly rising. You get the deal here. New York City is really bad. And just based on this data, I suspect we're going to start off next week when we get the update for the new week. Not Monday, which will conclude last week's data, but New York State, when they give the new update for the new week on Tuesday, I'm expecting to see hospitalizations higher than any given point from last week, just based on this wastewater. The surge in New York City is not done, nor is it on Staten Island. Staten Island started dropping in the southern site, and look at this. It's going up even higher. We also want to take a look at Connecticut. What's going on there? Hartford, rising at this time. Some of these sites are not updating. New London is rising at this time. New Haven, whoa, rapidly rising at this time. And here's another New Haven that's slightly dropping. I should give you a disclaimer in New York City. A lot of these sites are low to moderate. If they continue rising at the current pace, they will go into the orange relatively soon. All right, New Jersey now. Somerset County, New Jersey. This site doesn't update all that frequently. We can go back to this scan website again. Really amazed, knock on wood, this website has not frozen up on us yet. Bridgewater. This is one that we want to look at. It's close to Somerset County. I think this is the same site. Anywho, the most recent updates, look at this. It's actually dropping at this time since about early July, so that's good to see. Influenza, not an issue. RSV, not an issue. HMPV, not an issue. Mpox, not detected. And Norovirus, it is starting to rise again. You can see it dropped off a little bit on the last two updates, but the overall trajectory was for a rise in Norovirus. And that's something I should add about Norovirus. That is something that can crop up at any given time of the year. An area can have a rise in Norovirus cases, especially in nursing homes. Continuing on with New Jersey, there's a few more sites here. We won't bounce over to the other website for these. Monmouth County's orange, and the other Monmouth County is orange. Now we want to take a look at Pennsylvania. We now see moderate in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. That's a big tourist area. That's the Pocono Mountains. That's big. And look down here in southeast Pennsylvania. Metropolitan Philadelphia area, you're seeing a lot of orange sites at this time. This is not good to see at all. You can see here, Chester County. Then we come down here to this Delaware site. And Delaware has been seeing a rise. There's a lot of moderate in Delaware, which is not good to see. That's an area that Infections right now, look at that, Sussex County, Delaware. This is close to Rehoboth Beach. This is a huge tourist area in the summertime, and it's just rapidly rising. And we can come over here to this wastewater scan website. Coming back to Pennsylvania for a second, you can see Chester County. The overall trajectory is for a slight rise. Influenza is not an issue. RSV is not an issue. HMPV is not an issue. Mpox is not an issue. Norovirus is starting to rise. That's not good to see. And let's go back to the CDC website. There's a few more places in Pennsylvania I want to show you. York County, Pennsylvania. That is, I believe they're going to be having the big festival there soon. Maybe it happened already. I think they changed the date of it. The point is, it's a reason for there to be spread of COVID. Right now, it's dropping there. Let's go to the western portion of the state. Indiana County is starting to rise. Allegheny County, this is Pittsburgh. Not that big of a wastewater site. There's way more than 22,000 people that live in Allegheny County, but here's what it is, and it is rapidly rising at this time. Full disclaimer, I forgot to mention this at the start of the video. Someone's going to get me for it down below. All these wastewater sites that I'm showing you do not include private septic tanks, porta potties, any wastewater facility, a private one or whatever that is not hooked up to a sewer treatment center is not included in this data. So, yes, that means we could be missing some data. Here's northern Pennsylvania. Look at this. McKean County, north central Pennsylvania, almost northwest Pennsylvania. Rapidly rising here and already at moderate. Let's come down here, take a look closer to the D.C. area. Alexandria City, Fairfax, 300,000 and rising at this time. Then we come out here to Rockingham. That's moderate, but it is slightly dropping at this time. All right, let's come out here to Ohio. Ohio is actually not doing terrible. There are some rising sites, but given that cases have risen, I would expect to see worse in the wastewater. Here's Franklin County. Franklin County, which is Columbus, that is definitely rising at this time. And we've also been watching Hamilton. Here's Hamilton. Look at this. This is Cincinnati. I mean, just a rapid rise here. But in the rural areas, like here's another rural area, we're not seeing major increases in the rural areas. It's mainly the cities of Ohio that are doing the worst at this time. Like, for example, we come up here closer to Cleveland. Here's a rapid rise. And I believe if we come to near Toledo, yep, out here near Toledo, we are also seeing some rapid rises. Like, look at Lucas. Wow, Lucas County is literally going straight up. So the inner city areas of Ohio are doing bad. The rural areas are not doing terrible just yet. Now coming south here, going back into Virginia, we do have some more moderate areas that are rising at this time. Ooh, Chesapeake City, Norfolk City, Virginia Beach, big summer area. Yikes, rapidly rising. It would appear, just based on all the vacation areas that we've seen so far today, the vacation areas are all rapidly rising at this point. I mean, it's the first week in August. We're at the peak of vacations right now, and all those areas are rising, and unfortunately, I don't know where everybody comes from that goes to the vacation areas, but when they travel back to where they came from, there's a good chance some of them are going to be taking COVID back with them, back to their small towns, back to their cities, or wherever they came from. And taking a look at North Carolina, yeah, North Carolina is not good at this point. There's just a lot of sites that are rising. You just saw Gulford, which is up near Greensboro. Then we come down here to closer to Charlotte, and we're seeing, look at all these rises. Just rapid rises at this point. Unfortunately, I think when we do our wastewater update next Sunday, we're going to see a lot more red sites, folks. I mean, a lot of these orange sites are continuing to be rapidly going up. Atlanta, Georgia, a lot of these sites do not update frequently. But what I can tell you is a lot of sites are approaching near moderate at this time. Not all of them, but some of them are approaching near moderate. Here's a big site that we don't usually look at. Look at this. It is rising. Gwinnett? I think that's how you pronounce it. Gwinnett? Apologies if I got that wrong. I do tend to get some of these incorrect. Apologies about that. Now we got to get to Florida. As we know, I've reported on it. BNO has reported on it. Florida reported on it. Florida's cases are now rapidly rising. They saw well over a 50% increase in cases in the most recent update. And look at these wastewater sites. It clearly supports it. You are seeing rapid rises now in wastewater site in Florida. Here's Orange County. This doesn't update all that frequently, but it is literally going straight up. Now we come down here to Miami-Dade. You're seeing red there. And we have to go back to Wastewater scan again, because we do want to take a look at a Florida site or two on this website. Let's come down here to Miami. Let's go to this one right here. You can see the overall trajectory in Biscayne, Florida is upward. Not too many issues with the other stuff, though RSV, it was showing up back in June and the start of July. Norovirus, look at this. Norovirus is really starting to rise. So you want to be careful. You want to be wiping down all services in this area. Here's another Miami-Dade. This one is dropping, and that's good to see. However, there is RSV problems. And look at this. On the most recent update, it did go upward. And norovirus, wow. This is some high levels of norovirus being detected here that are continuing to rise. So that's not good. There's a lot of illness going around in Miami right now. We also do want to come down here to Orange County, Florida. And we can see at this wastewater site for COVID, it's still rising. It leveled off a little bit, but the overall trend is upward, and it's not dropping yet. And I don't think we're going to see Florida peak until the second half of this month. All right, going back to the CDC site, we want to start making our way westward and back northwest. Let's take a look at Louisiana. What's going on in New Orleans? Chances are, no, it did update. I was going to say it hasn't updated, but it did. Orleans Parish, 389,000 population. It's orange and it's rapidly rising. It's now back to the highest levels we have seen there since the winter months. All right, coming northward, let's take a look at Indiana. And Hamilton County, Indiana. This is closer to Indianapolis. It is leveled off a little bit, but slightly rising. Coming up here to Cook County, which is Chicago. This is up in Illinois. And we do see a rise here. Let's take a look at a few sites there. Another Cook County, rapidly rising. Then we come over here. Oh, we just did that one. Lake County, rising. And these sites are at low levels, but that's not going to last much longer. They're eventually going to go to moderate levels. And the Great Lakes region is a prime example where I think in the north, as we head into September, we're going to see a lot faster rises. And these rural areas that I'm mentioning, like some of them are college towns. Right now, the college students haven't come back yet. Once they come back, COVID will spread back to the college communities. They're going to patronize in the businesses. So people who work at the businesses, there's potential they could spread COVID to their families. You know, it's going to become town-wide outbreaks. It's not just going to affect the students in the college towns. There's people that actually live in these college towns. Like, for example, back in Pennsylvania, you have State College, Pennsylvania. Yes, Penn State is there, but you also have thousands of people that live in State College and work in State College. So it's going to spread among the community surrounding the colleges, and it's going to become outbreaks, and then it goes outside to the rural areas, because, you know, people that live in the rural areas surrounding college towns do work in these college towns, so it's going to spread there as well, and that's going to be a problem all across the country. Let's make our way westward a little further. Nebraska, we do see 2 red sites here, and both of them are not looking good, except for this one. This one is dropping, but for the most part, Nebraska is not doing well. Even with these little bit of drops that we're seeing, they're still at moderate to high levels at this time. Wisconsin is not doing too bad at this time. Again, Wisconsin is another area. Come September, we're going to start to see a faster rise. Missouri, it's not doing terrible. It's still at low levels. It's starting off its rise from low levels. And I think, again, second half of August, it's going to get worse in that area. All right, we have to look at Texas. And Texas, these sites don't update that often. I would go to the other site, but this video is starting to run a little long. So, taking a look here at Dallas, this is very concerning. This site does update frequently. 105,000 population, already moderate, rapidly rising. It's eventually going to turn red, and you can see here, a lot of these sites are relatively concerning. But honestly, you would expect to see Texas worse at this time of year, because Texas, historically, would peak at the second half of August. I don't know if that's going to happen, because we're under the strain of a new variant that is still, you know, it's not all that high yet. As it gets higher, it could rise further down here. So, past history may not really mean much in the South this year, because EG.5 or that FL 1.5.1 whatever that decides to do, could drive cases higher because there's not a lot of immunity right now. And we also have a ton of people that do not want to get a booster. So that coupled with the fact not many people have been infected since last winter, yes, there's a lot of room for this wave across the country to grow. Ventura, California, look at this. Rapidly rising 250,000 population. And full disclaimer about California. I gotta show this other side again. Full disclaimer about California. Check this out. This is really neat, my friends. Look how many new sites there are in California. Oh yes, the Bay Area. Let's just click on Oakland. Oakland, whoa. Rapid rise here. 740,000 population. And just a rapid rise now for COVID. Influenza is flat. RSV is not an issue. HMPV, there were little issues for that back in July. Mpox, not an issue. And yet again, another site where norovirus is increasing. And we've seen quite a few norovirus sites increasing across the United States today. So that is not good to see. And let's just continue on here with one more site. California, Los Angeles. Let's see. Here's a big one right here. 3.5 million. COVID is slightly dropping after a big rise. And everything else is not an issue except for norovirus, which is slightly rising. All right. Just a couple more states. Let's come up here to Oregon and Washington. Then we'll finish this for today. Oregon is not doing too bad just yet. You're seeing here sites are dropping at this time. Let's go to Northwest Oregon. Again, a lot of these sites are dropping at this time. But then we come out here to Washington. We do have one red site, but it's starting to drop, and it's very small population. Again, Washington's not that bad either. I think this could also be the victim of an area that maybe starts rising faster in September. We'll just have to see how it plays out. And we should mention Idaho. Idaho is seeing a rise in a couple wastewater sites, but it's not terrible yet like this one. This is a bigger site, and it's dropping at this time. Alrighty, folks. Sorry if I did not get to every wastewater site. Sorry if I did not get to every state. I can already see places that I missed. And real quickly, Colorado, yes, you do have two moderate and high sites. I promise we will get to more of those wastewater scan sites throughout the week. I'm going to add each day in every pandemic update at least 2 to 4 because it's very important that we track other stuff as well. There is clearly a norovirus wave that is starting up in parts of the U.S., so that's something we have to be concerned about as well because that can hit nursing homes pretty hard. And as you know, nursing homes do tend to lock down when there is a norovirus outbreak. But the other takeaway for today is New York City is continuing to get worse. Florida's continuing to get worse. And I think in a matter of time, just within a couple weeks, we're going to see the northern half of the U.S. rise much faster. There is one area where that is already starting, and I would say that is D.C. on north up to Philadelphia. It's in the early stages, but by the second half of this month, it's going to be really bad in this area, especially September, once football starts up. The areas with the big football stadiums, you know, they get 60 to 70,000 people. I'm referring to NFL. Never mind with college football. That's a whole other issue within itself, which we did not mention about for these college towns. Yes, you know, Penn State University. There's one. 100 to 110,000 people will fill up Beaver Stadium. You better believe that's going to cause COVID outbreaks. We'll be watching it in the wastewater, hopefully, because those sites haven't updated. But alrighty, that's all I have for today. I'll see you again tomorrow for our next edition of the Pandemic Update. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. If you know anyone that needs a wake-up call that the pandemic is still ongoing, by all means, share this with them. I will see you all again next time. But until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a great Sunday.